Okay, this is a class about Italian wedding soup. That's the last time I'm going to say it. It's all going to be using the Italian terms because it makes no sense if you grew up in an Italian household to say Italian wedding soup. It's minestra maritata. Everybody, I think, who grew up in an Italian home must know the term minestra. I mean, everybody had a minestra. And minestra maritata meant married to greens. It was the soup, the meat soups married to greens. So that and this kind of gives you the origins are in this first handout here. You could look at this later. But how I really realized the range of soups that minestra maritata included was after I started cooking this for a regional lunch. And then my co-chef, Joe Lucido, said, that's not how we made it. Well, I shouldn't be surprised because everything in Italian is that way. However, I got La Cucina, the regional cookbook of Italy. I think you donated. Yeah, you didn't read it.
I wasn't using it that much, and you had recommended it, so I thought it'd be good to have it
She
because I could always
donated it
come.
to the library, but this is my copy. This thing has 5 or 6 variations of it, of minestra maritata. They also call it, I think, Italian wedding soup too. But the most important thing, you see how thick this book is?
Yeah.
All of this, it's about 100 pages of soups. I didn't realize it, and then I started reading up on it, and they said that next to pastas, soups are the most varied item in an Italian menu. Question: how many Italian soups, if you go to a restaurant, do you recall? How many soups have you experienced at an Italian restaurant?
Not many.
Which ones? And if I exclude minestrone, what else is left?
Lentil, bean.
Tuscan white bean soup is a classic. Yeah. Yeah, Tuscan. What one?
Lentil.
Yeah, lentil soup. But normally when you go to an Italian restaurant, they don't do many soups. And you know, actually we prepped for about an hour and a half before we got to this point that I'm going to show you now. So Christy came a little bit early and we prepped. And that's really important because making soup, you know, is a long process and we want to sample it. And I think once you understand that, what's going on? Huh?
Somebody's coming in.
Oh.
That's Jenna. Hi, Jenna. Where's that part?
Okay, we're going to continue. On one of these pages here, you'll be tested after this presentation.
No.
There's a vocabulary. In English, there's primarily one word, soup. Soup. There are about, I've counted at least 10 different descriptions for soups in Italian. So I started making a list for you, and this is vocabulary. And actually, after I wrote the vocabulary, I added a couple of more, so you may want to add to your list. Okay, the first one is consommé. It is not in Italian a clear broth. Consommé has vegetables and a little bit of the pastina, and it's not the pure broth that the French have or we use. Okay? Then the other one is called brodo. Are people familiar with the term brodo? Okay. A brodo is a very common term for the soup. Now that's a stock There are two types of brodo. Brodo di carne e brodo di minestre. Brodo di minestre is your vegetable soups. Brodo di carne is your chunk soups. Then there's another term, brodetto. And brodetto is usually associated with seafood. And so it's a sea soup. It's a soup that when you say brodetto, you would assume is a shell or seafood. So you might go to an Italian restaurant that features brodetto de whatever, bacalao, whatever. Then there's another term called brodettato. Brodettato is a way of cooking food, and it's usually in a sauce. So you could actually have brodetto de carne and minestre. You could mix. It's very creative. There's over 100 to 150 recipes here, and I'm sure that they don't have it all. Okay, now we've got the brodos. Then we have zuppa. Zuppa sounds like soup. And this is a thick vegetable soup, and it's very regional, and every region has a zuppa. And usually it's from your home garden. In the Venetian or the northern languages, it's called sopa. Sopa is close to our soup. One of my favorite sopas is actually Portuguese. It's called soupish. And that's made with mint and beef. So it's kind of like a brodettato.
Dan?
Yes.
It also sounds like the Spanish version, because they say sopa, don't they?
Yeah, they say sopa too. A lot of the Venetian dialect, I don't know why, borrowed or uses a more Spanish vocabulary. Like, I think in Venice, they don't call them via, they call them calle. But I think they call it calle. I'm not sure how they pronounce it. Well, in Spanish it's calle, but I don't know how they say it in the Venetian dialect. Now, also Treviso. I was depending on Jerry to help me out there because this is their dialect. Okay, so you have your zuppa. Now, there's another description for zuppa. Zuppa crudo and zuppa sofrito. Everyone knows those two? Crudo means hard diced vegetables. They don't prep it. The sofrito, you prep it first. That's why it took me a longer time and I needed Christy's help so we could make the sofretto. The sofretto's already made, and I have a recipe on the back here, and I'll go over that in a little bit. Then, and we're getting to minestre. Minestre is not pureed, but blended. It's also a soup. And I don't know really, truthfully, if zuppa and minestre, I don't know really what the difference is. But I will tell you this, minestrina is your clearer consomme. It's a clearer broth. You could add pastina, small pasta to it. And of course, you have minestrone, which is, the most common Italian soup. Then there's something called stufato, and that's so slowly braised meats and all, but you use the juices, and the juices become the stock for your soup. So you could have actually sugo, the juice, sugo, or sugo is also another word for sauce, like tomato sauce. Sugo de carne, or the vegetables. Okay. Amongst these, then, there's another couple of terms, and one famous soup is zuppa al pavesi, or a stracciatella. Now, people know stracciatella? Stracciatella is when you make your soup, and as it's boiling, you crack an egg and you stir it in. That's stracciatella. But it's also you can poach an egg in it, and that's zuppa al palvesi. And both are considered minestre. Then, while I was doing my research in Italy, and I don't know anyone that really has given me that information, but I checked it out, all restaurants use dado, and that's stock cubes. Cubes. Dado. D-A-D-O. And you know how we use bouillon, those little squares? According to everything I found, and maybe we'll check it out a little later, the stock cubes from Italy are richer. And a lot of the chefs use it. I don't know if anyone has used it before.
Were they more concentrated?
Well, the stock,
Yeah.
the squares. So I've used them, but I've never used the Italian version. So I'm curious about that. Okay, then the other item that's into the wedding soup is polpetti. Now polpetti, everyone knows? Meatball. Now what's a polpettone?
A little meatball.
No, that would be a polpettini. What's a polpettone? It's as American as apple pie. Meatloaf. Okay, and then there's another whole genre that I'm just wanting you to be aware. Brassato, braised, and they use the sauce, and bollito. Bollito is a Piemontese type of sauce where they boil everything. And it becomes this mixture, this rich Piemontese mixture. And if you think about it, it's pretty cold up there. So, there we go. Okay, that's a vocabulary. And you just thought you were going to learn about minestra and maritata. So, okay, on the back of that vocabulary is the sofrito. That took us, I guess about an hour to an hour and a half to make. And basically, a sofrito is a core. That's your stock. You can use sofrito for many sorts of dishes. So the sofrito, and I'm going to be referring to sofrito, what I used was diced onions, about a cup of each one. Diced onions, celery, carrots, and fennel bulbs. Each chef or each region has their own sofrito. So that's what I use. You can blend with the herbs and broadleaf Italian parsley, sage. Now some people use pancetta or diced prosciutto. I didn't use any of those for this. And a minced red pepper, obviously, if you go crazy. But I didn't put any in. Okay, and then I saute it in a tablespoon of olive oil until the sofrito, all of the vegetables become a little bit translucent. And that takes about 6, 7, 8 minutes. I made double recipes, so you have to allow for that. It's, you know, when you're talking soups and things, we use 4 eggs, but for your liquid. But it depends on the size of the egg. It depends on, there's so many variables, so I just want you to be aware of that. Okay, so for the sofrito that I made, that we're going to be using, I omitted the sage, diced pork, and red pepper. So, and it's good for Easter because we don't eat a lot of heavy meats. Okay, so we have this and this. So the sofrito, I usually use about a cup of each of the core, and then I saute them in olive oil, good olive oil. You really want to taste the olive oil in that. And then to that, I added soup. Now, some people make their own soup. Some people, maybe, I guess in some of the chefs, they use the dado or the bouillon. But I made low sodium chicken soup and organic bone soup.
You're talking broth.
Yeah, bone broth.
Not soup, yeah.
Yeah, bone broth. So the thing about the broth is it's kind of the new trend in trying to promote a more natural collagen, and it's very healthy. And it's a little more than the other broth, the regular broth. But you know what? I think it's worth it. It's your body. And so you really want to really promote that. Okay, so if you want to look at this later, you can. I'll share that. Okay, finally, I'm going to give you an overview of the steps in making minestra maritata. First one is to prepare your soup stock by making the sofrito. Now remember, I already did that. And later look at it. If you have any questions about that, let me know. The one interesting thing when you're cooking with greens and you're making the sofrito, I have a little example. But when you buy or get your greens, there are certain vegetables that have stalks. You know, the white part here, usually this much, but we used it, we dice them. You dice it and you put it in when you braise it. You don't cook it with the leaves because it takes longer to cook. The whole thing about soups or timing, these here, we'll put them in. The last thing I'm putting in is the spinach, because it takes about 5 minutes or 6 minutes. It doesn't take much at all. So that's important. I only showed you this is because we cleaned and washed and took out even the pre-made, pre-washed spinach. We even went through it. If there was any discolored, we just threw them away. So that's the first part. Okay, the second thing is while the soup is low boiling, you add the polpetti. Now, we are going to make the polpetti 3 different ways. The first way, I'm going to bake some, and we'll get some of the animal fats out, but truthfully, I don't think there's too much, but we're going to bake it. We're going to boil some, and I tried to buy some pre-made chicken meatballs. The closest I got was chicken and beef, but they're pre-cooked, so we're going to put those in too. This is a class, so you're going to have to, you know, what I'm doing is giving you shortcuts. I can even give you a recipe for making chicken soup, but again, we only have an hour and a half. So, and frankly, I'm really happy with the commercial products. But you know, I'm sure some of you have made chicken soup, and you know, you could do this whole meal really from scratch. However, it's a whole afternoon project. So what I want to do is I'm going to start the second part of this series. All of the vegetables were pre-washed. They're all pre-washed. And so we'll just dice this one up. And while we're making the meatballs, I will turn on the stock and we'll start putting some of the vegetables in. Also, we're going to bake some of these. So now for the polpetti, I made a very simple chicken meatball, or polpetti di pollo. And what I need is I'm going to need some volunteers. I've doubled the recipe, and the recipe includes a couple of tablespoons of milk for the bread, about 3 cups of breadcrumbs, depending on consistency. Some people don't use breadcrumbs, they use hard bread. And it's a whole different, but again, that's variation. And then about a pound and a half of ground chicken, and a half a cup of grated Parmesan cheese, 2 eggs, a tablespoon of olive oil, and minced and 2 to 3 tablespoons of finely minced Italian parsley, salt and pepper, garlic, onion to taste. I mean, that's your style of cooking. And then we're going to start by mixing the milk into the breadcrumbs to moisten them, then add the other ingredients, and we'll mix 2 eggs. So I'm doubling the recipe, so we're going to have 4 eggs in this here. Mix all them together into a firm paste. They are ready to roll into small polpetti, a little smaller than a 50-cent piece. I'll show you the ones that the store make. Actually, they have a pretty good size. I don't know how it tastes, but we'll go from there. So, like I say, we're going to sample 3 types of meatballs. One that'll be baked, one that we're going to be cooking and putting in with the broth. That's why I have 2 pots going. One will be for the broth, and then we'll blend them later. But I want to make sure the ones that we do with the meatballs that we're going to be baking, I mean not baking because they'll be pre-cooked, but the ones that we're going to cook raw, they'll be cooking, I'd say about 10, 15 minutes longer. So that'll be good. And then, so then how you serve that, once we get the meat, you lay them in the soup, cook them for an additional 10 to 15 minutes, and you don't even have to do any of that if you like a favorite brand that's already made. But I think we want to, when we made it for the regional lunch, we made chicken meatballs. We just did it. And we baked them. And then we put them in. So here.
Beef. I thought you used beef.
Huh?
I thought you used beef at the regional lunch.
Well, that was interesting. We started out using chicken. We actually had 2 options. I advertised it as chicken. And then Joe convinced me, well, we should be making chicken and beef. So I said, all right, we'll do chicken and beef. Then I made that announcement, and someone said, I don't eat beef and I have a beef allergy. So we made 2 types. We went some with beef and chicken, and some with chicken. I grew up in an Italian family. None of this surprises me. And no, that doesn't even surprise you. Everybody has their taste. And these days, I'm not even sure who's the vegan. I'm not sure who can eat what. It seems, though, that chicken is kind of neutral ground. But if some people don't eat meat, they're not going to eat chicken. So here we go. So I'm going to need some volunteers, and this is definitely going to be some volunteers, about 3, 4. I have gloves. Okay, you can use your gloves here, because I want to get this. We want to get the meatballs going now. So I'm going to get the bread.
Oh, good, we got volunteers. I volunteered.
This is about 5. Yeah. So I'm going to put this in, and somebody's going to have to stir it. I want to beat the eggs. I'll put it all together. Okay. All right. So let me get a fork. That's another thing. You know, the whole thing with the breadcrumbs are, I use the herb breadcrumbs. You can use plain breadcrumbs, or you could toast your own and have your own group. But I just wanted, I use that because I'm not putting a lot of salt, because there's salt in a lot of this. So, yes.
And I actually soaked it in milk.
Well, we're putting the milk in, but it's the same concept, yes. Okay, let's, and I'm going to get, oh yeah. But I didn't soak it with, like, in the chunkier. But,
yeah, mine did too. Yeah, that's how we need
oh, I normally do not cook with a lot of salt because of people's diets.
It's the biggest thing that you have ultimate control and excitement
Sure.
You cook, especially if you're a foodie, you love to cook, you're hopefully cooking with unsalted butter.
No way.
If you're not, you shouldn't.
Yeah. Well,
No way.
okay.
That way.
So we're good.
I'm terrible.
Yes,
No.
a couple of tablespoons.
You can always
Now
add.
here's where I need your gloves. Yeah, you're gonna have to add the meat into it. And here, let's scrape this. And we're gonna be making a paste here. And while you're stirring it and blending this whole thing in, you have to mix it.
Really big bowl.
Yeah. But it's a good bowl.
It's an IHF.
Oh, huh?
It's an IHF.
That's a, when I worked in the bakery, they used bowls like that. Because you gotta work the dough, and then you pour it out, and, yes. Okay, so I'm gonna get the soup going here. Remember, it has the sofrito in it. So, we're going to start that going now. Huh? Yeah, I don't think there's any more in there. You want to have more of a paste if I can add a little more water, but okay, let me add, I'll add a little water with this here.
Look up close at what it looks like. Stand up. You've seen it. You've seen it all.
Oh, I did. The same, I wanted that little bit of oil. What? Oh, well, some people don't put egg. They do put water, but so I do. I use the milk. Yeah. Now, if people want to see the soup stock, we can take a peek in here because I'm going to get this going. This will be the next step. This is the one I'm going to use to cook the meatballs when we're going to set them in. This one here is my main one here. And this is the one I'm going to put the pre-cooked ones and the baked ones. So this one here. And you see, all of this here is the broth, a little water, a little wine, a little lemon juice, and the sofrito. And I added, of course, mushrooms. Oh yeah. Now, I did not put any, it's all in there, I did not put any pasta because it bugs me when you take it home. The pasta swells up and it takes the broth and it looks terrible. So you're going to be taking this home. Huh? Yeah. Now the sofrito, did you get a handout? It's there in the page. Yeah, it's your stock. But the thing about that is, when you're talking, how are we doing? Yeah, I think that's good. Yes. Yeah. Okay. No. So I need your gloves on, and let me show you. I'm going to bring this out too.
It's 75 for mine.
Oops, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, these are the ones that I bought. And I bought these at the store. I'd like them about a little bigger than that. Because when you bake them, well, this is really, actually, I know, you want them a little bigger. But see, yeah.
I grew up with tiny.
But when you're, no, but I have to say, when you're making, no, that's perfect. That's fine. I'd go a little, yeah, I'd go a little bigger. Yeah. You know, see, huh? No, I'm going to be putting these, yeah, some of those, I have a special pot to cook the ones that we're cooking raw. The other ones, I'm going to do half. I'm going to bake them a little bit, and the other half, you're going to put them into boiling stock. So I'm going to put these in with the herbs. I was trying to get escarole. Escarole is classic with this. I went to 2 stores, I couldn't find it. Yeah, I don't have it, so I used rapini, mustard. Another one is chard. This is chard. And remember, I told you about the chard. The white part here goes into the sofrito. But, you know, I also told you there's a variation on this. There's a variation on this, which is called crudo. And the crudo, huh? No, it might mean raw, but when you're talking about soup, it means you're cutting, you're not chopping it fine. You're eating it chunky. Yeah. Well,
of course.
yes. So what I'm going to do is put the greens in, and I'm putting these meatballs in that are pre-cooked. And then we're going to put in the spinach at last. Huh? Mustard greens.
Okay, then that's the ones that, I think my grandpa used to.
They made that. You know, you could use any green you want. Most of the people, if you start reading the recipes, they use what they had in their area.
Yeah, because he would cook it as long as it wasn't flour.
Yes.
If it wasn't flour, it wasn't good.
Yeah, the closest that is called rapini, and you can get them at the store. These are more of the leafy greens. So we're going to be, we're going to put about half, we're going to boil, and the other half we're going to bake and then put them in the stock. That's what we worked to clean up. I wanted to show you all that work we did. Okay, that's 7:30 now.
That's exactly what my aunt used to do. Yeah, and I used to
Let's see how our meatballs are doing. Okay, at this point now, we'll get all of the meatballs done. What I want to do is maybe take half of them and we'll put them in the boiling stock. I'll wait a while until we see how many we have. And they're not bad. Now, have people used the bone broth?
No, I know it's bad.
It's very healthy for you.
It's popular right now.
It is,
Have that before you go to bed.
yes, because of your bone mass is very important. And they even sell bone broth powder.
Where did you get that?
I got it at one of the stores that I bought all of this. I forgot. But anyway, so really consider this because this is a health food. It really is. And, oh really? Well, they have beef bone broth too, but that would change. Yes. No, I don't know.
I asked my doctor about this, I noticed that bone broth was popular.
Yes.
She said actually her mother makes it. She said her mother makes it all the time. It's really healthy for you. So it's like a new thing that's.
Yeah, but it makes sense because you're using the bone and you're actually taking all of the vitamins and juice out of the bone marrow. And so what you're getting is the bone marrow on that. Okay, now let me see. I'm going to get some. I'll take half of that. Let's take half of those and put them in here. And we'll just slide them in. I think that's good. Oh, I use low sodium. I do not use. If you read what's in the ingredients of some of these items, I use low sodium salt. So I'm going to boil these now. Do people want to see how I'm just going to set them in? They will be cooking in the broth. There will probably be a little more animal fat, and we'll find out how much because when we bake these, some of the animal fat come out. But like I say, I bought 93%. Yeah, but 93%. I mean, I know, but I did it anyway. Okay. Yeah, and that's when I put the bacon too. Now these things have to cook for about 25 minutes, 20 minutes. But that's okay. Yeah. And then I'm going to blend it all with that. So this has store broth. Yes, it does. Yeah, on step 3. Oh yeah, we'll get step 3. Okay, let's put, are they done? Okay, let's put them in. We'll do it for about 14 minutes. No. You have to do phase 3. This is the steps. There's 3 steps. Yes. The last one I put in is spinach. Step 3. Huh? I think you're gonna have to do it. No, you gotta do it under steps. Okay, because it's too hard to do it. Okay, do you want to bring the Swiss chart? Yeah. Huh? No, but the thing was, what you call it? Yeah, but we could put it in. I'm not putting it in. I mean, you could put it, when you get your sauce, you can put a spoon in. You could do that. Yeah. It probably is, so you should probably ask Andrea. Now, I want you to know, it's about 7:45 now. So that we can dump. You've already seen what this looks like. Yeah, it's all dumpable. And now there was some lemon juice there. What? Well, what is it? It's just preference, I think. No, that's the gem. Yeah, I want to put. Huh? No, like this. Yeah. And we're gonna. The last thing I'm putting in is spinach. Yep, we can start actually cleaning up. Yeah, because of the vegetables. Yeah. I usually put two halves. Now this here is good. I'm going to slide two. So now we have to wait about 10 minutes. Yeah. Okay, now while all of this is cooking, we have about 10 minutes. Are there any questions about the recipe or the vocabulary? And I don't know, people if want to come up and see the various varieties of wedding soup. One is from Calabria, one is from Campania, one is from Piemonte, one is from Puglia, one is from Veneto, and one is from Basilicata. So there's 4 or 5 different varieties or variations, and mine isn't even in there.
Wow.
so figure it out. But this book here, this whole section here is on various soups. And I started to thinking about that. Next to pasta, soups or minestre are probably the most critical part of Italian cuisine. And yet when you go to an Italian restaurant, you very seldom get the various soups. I do know, yeah, you've had the Tuscan wedding soup.
But that would be for beer in California.
Well, I think it takes too long to make. If you're in a restaurant, you can't make, it takes about 2 to 3 hours to make soup. Huh? Yeah, well, the other thing too is these sort of hearty soups are usually your main meal. You may have a little salad. You may have the soup, which has everything in it. Because remember all the different varieties? I mean, you could have, what did I listed, I just listed off all of the different types of soups that you have. You can have a brodo, you can have a zuppa, crudo, sofrito, minestra, minestrone, stracciatella. I mean, all of these are soups, and I just touched the surface because there are many vegetable soups that are included. But they all take time. The one common ingredient is the time involved in making the soups. So what we're doing now then is we'll clean up a little bit in here, and then what we'll do is we have some dishes here, and soon we'll be having some soup. There should be some French breads, various breads, and we will be eating in about 20 minutes. Well, we can clean up, yeah.
That's exactly it. That's what I'm.
It's the Academy,
Does a lot of that.
the Italian Academy of Cuisine.
And more than that.
Well, you got
He
it,
said to me,
and you donated
you
it.
better pray that you die first. I said, I do, Bob.
The funny thing about it is it's hard to work. It's hard to use.
I mean, God bless you, but you were pretty self-sufficient.
I mean, it is, and it's one of the few cookbooks that actually talk about true Italian cooking, including using horse meat. They have several recipes for horse meat.
And I say
They come out. It's more of a reference book. I think that's really the best way to say it. It's more of a reference book.
Yeah, Bob
But
was
we'll just
telling me
clean this
he
area
retired
up.
about
And what I'll do is
7
I'll move the,
8 months before me.
when we do the soup, I'll move everything
He
over
was
here
doing
and
the
people
cooking
can get
before
it.
that anyway.
That would be good.
He was
So we're, right now, the soup has to cook, and that'll take about 15, 20 minutes.
Now he doesn't even cook it.
So on that note, have some more wine, have some more food.
Yeah, but I think the idea is is there, and you go to Costco now?
I don't know, where did I buy it? I don't
You
remember.
bought pre-made meatballs for the
Huh?
movie.
Did you get it online? It is a good book, actually.
Pardon me? Okay, the ones I buy are the ones you like. I like the Italian meatballs. I like them very much. I'm glad you recommended them. Because they're up our alley, just put it that way. Last night, Bob had bought it's very good. It was the meat, the potatoes, the carrots.
We have to wait for this to cook, yeah.
Spices were a little different, but actually it was very good. Very good. Beef.
I just wanted to make sure.
We've been into Marty's when I was
Huh?
we went in there like, it was about 6
We should
o'clock,
have.
yeah, or 6:30. They don't have because he likes such a vodka.
What's in there? Let's see.
Then he punch.
I don't know, you, whatever's there.
But every time
Well, we had some.
we play. Oh, yes, yes.
Well,
Where do you guys play? Because I know my other friend, she plays Bonfire every
so
week.
you'll have to use,
A lot.
if he has some, or use the dish soap.
She might even be, oh, Jerry.
Yeah.
There's Linda Randall plays it every week. On Mondays. Because it was at your house on Monday. Nachos.
Oh, I'll get you some.
How was that? Because
No,
I know I got the
he's
little jars
cursing.
of whatever, like that artichoke.
I don't know,
From,
some barber shop thing.
Yeah, but you don't have that whole cost plus yeah, World Market, yeah, and they have delicious artichoke ones. It's a really good spread. And we try like the tomato one, tomato. He's very good also. And what did you do then? You serve a main dish after that?
Can we get some soup labels over there?
That's right.
We get some big soup labels. You can take a peek here. See, this is the ones
We do that for buckle.
that all this is homemade and this is homemade, but these are not baked first. So you're going to get a little chicken oil. It's just a style. And then this one here, yes, see the difference? And then, in about 5 minutes, we're going to add the baked meatballs, and we're putting them in here too. So you're trying 3 different types. Now look at this here. These are the ones the machine made, they're consistent. Everyone looks alike, they swell. And I've used them. I'm not averse to using them, but it's different. It's just different. You can get them, you know, it just depends on the grocery store. I've gone to stores and I had no problem getting them. Today, or yesterday, I went to 2 stores and the closest I came was chicken and beef. So that's what we're having here. Huh? I think they do. I didn't go to Trader Joe's. And the other thing I want to mention, and I'll mention out there too, this pot, you need a heavy pot. This pot is fine for boiling, because I want to boil it good. There's very little difference between outside and inside. This one you can control the heat. It's very thick. But the other part of this is when I turn this thing off, this will go faster. This will still keep cooking because the bottom is copper on that. Okay. I think the other thing is about ready. It's about 3 minutes. But frankly, that's going to go in last. Remember I said if you put spinach, it just dissolves. So what I want to do now is take this out. I bake them 350 for about 15 minutes. But there truthfully isn't a lot of oil. No, it cut here. Believe me. What's wrong with this thing? Huh? Oh, I'll get another one. That was dramatic. Yeah, I said huh? My heart rate. My hand, don't worry about my heart. Okay. Now we're going to put these in. And as I say, stay away from the metal can. Yeah. You'll tell the difference because these are actually, because we use chicken, there's not a lot of fat. So we just did it because when we made it for the class, I had some beef in it. And so all the animal fat kind of came out. The broth is the same. I wanted to make sure that the ones that we cooked that I didn't bake got better attention for cooking. So it should cook for about 20 minutes. And if we're over it, we're really over it. And so you'll be sampling them. But the thing is, I have to wait now until the juice goes into the baked ones. Because they're drier, I can tell. Yeah, they're drier because we took all of the oil out. That would have been dramatic. Well, we would have had less meatballs. Okay, be careful here. So, we're going to cook for 10 more minutes and then we should be done. I'd say 2 big ones, 2 good ones. And what we'll do is let's put what I'll do is put the dishes over here.
I buy that ouzo salad from Lenardi's also.
I think it'd be easier.
Yeah, but she said she got it from Zanotto's.
Zanotto's, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
I just Lenardi's is closer to me.
Right.
We'll go
That's
for
really nice.
10 minutes.
Pasta, this is very easy.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
But I did grow up with pastina. That's what I grew up with. That's what I grew up
grandma's gave. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, even as a baby, that was what we
Yeah.
would just cook the pastina and put a little bit of butter on it. And that was like something we fed a baby.
Right.
Yeah. Once they started, you know.
While we're waiting for the soup to cook, I think we're going to be doing the crab feed. I want to clarify that crab season is closed in California. However, our crab comes from Oregon. They're fresh crab from Oregon. So we're going to be doing that. The polenta dinner is May 12th, and actually I don't know how many people are aware, we're doing it in honor and memory of one of our founders of the polenta dinner, Antonio Amalo. He passed away a couple of weeks ago. And he was past president of the Tricarico Club. And the Tricarico Club does the polenta dinner always, so it's dedicated to him. And then we're doing the bocce tournament.
Oh my goodness.
And that will be June 4th. And really one of my right-hand people on that was Christy's sister, Karen. And she won't be here for a while. We're dedicating it to her. It's kind of ironic, but these are some of the strong volunteers. And then on May 8th, our regional lunch will be the Adriatic. I don't know how many people have traveled that area. It's a fascinating area around Ravenna, Rimini. It's almost Eastern European. And I'm looking for a source for piada. Piada is a flatbread. Very similar to Arabic flatbread, and if I can't find it, I'll use Arabic flatbread because they don't use French bread. They use a flatbread. It's called piada. You could check it out. But we're going to have that dinner on May 18th. And of course, we're doing the festa this year. And this year too, very exciting, we're going to have a festa getaway raffle. So we have the Cellini's have donated their home to Civic Grove, and they're giving it to us for 3 days. I'm getting a spa at Calistoga, the Roman spa. That's totally an amazing place. And if people have any contacts about raffle prizes, ask. But we want getaways, and we want good getaways, good places to go. So I think I'm going to check the, let's see, I think about 5 more minutes, but I want to check the meatballs, and I think we're almost ready.
Yeah. I like it. What do you think? I'm going to take a picture of people. I'll show you. I'm like, I'm going to have that, isn't it? I will.
Yeah. I need to cut it.
This is when you were doing the alcohol, serving alcohol.
It's hot. Yeah, I know.
That's funny, Maria. I should have somebody else, have somebody take a picture of you and I. That's good. Good idea. I don't know, it sounds like we're in Texas too. That's what I was going to say, but everybody gets to do it.
Taste one.
I think it's
I can taste the egg.
had these other foods. I do try the fish salad. Came from the Roberts. They put it out. But I buy it from the Marines. I do buy it from Stores. So you've been involved so long with the club here?
So I was a member for a long time and not able to come, and then we started cooking classes and some movies and stuff, and of course COVID and stuff.
Yes.
All right, let's put
My
the
husband
spinach.
died about a year and a half ago, so I've been calling him.
Just put it in.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but it's been like a family, you know, they really, it's been nice to, do stuff.
Huh?
Yeah, and it was nice, they're very accepting, you know.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
So when do you volunteer? Like the way they have the
When they do,
Polenta?
Yeah.
when they do the regional luncheons
Yeah, all of it.
and
It'll go in.
mostly that kind of thing. And I've done a festa before.
She
yeah.
did that.
Yeah, it's fun. So what did you do?
I just got involved with last year.
It's whole pasta. Oh.
Plus almost $20,000.
Sorry, what you do?
Oh, nice. So I thought it was
And she doesn't drink.
Well,
That was kind of
be
funny.
trusted with the.
So I was thinking,
It is fun.
it was fun.
Yeah.
And so I had one of those drawing
Well, but it's also right.
That's great.
You can't have it. Yeah.
Now, Maria and I have gone for years down to downtown.
Well, we need it for
When
the
they
faculty
have,
in June.
Italy, whenever they have,
You need some?
I went down and saw him at the Googly.
I use it. I use it.
Yes, that was a very nice show. That is children come up on stage. It was very nice. It was very nice. The food was good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was about that.
The wine dinner. Yeah, was really good.
That might have been what it was. It was like
This
a,
one was,
I didn't want
was
anything
there.
else.
Oh, he
It
wasn't
was
there.
another dinner.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
but,
Yeah,
the girl
yeah.
came.
Well, and some of
It
the
was very nice, but it's in.
doesn't have to. Okay.
Darling Hill, yeah.
Soup will be on in 5 minutes. Let me clean the area here.
Very nice, very nice.
one of the restaurants down there. That time I never.
I don't know.
It's about the other console or something like that.
Truth is that we have all this help, maybe we should use the,
Right, right.
that they, let's
Yeah, I would love
put
to
this
do that.
aside.
I don't think it's.
I think we're gonna use the ceramic. This is too dangerous.
Is that the one that's
Or you
across
know
from
what we
Harry's
could
Highway?
do?
Yes.
Okay, because we just passed that the other night. We went to a friend's town to Teskey's German
I know.
restaurant. Yeah, so we went
Let's,
past that,
let's
and
see
we
if
saw
we-
that the name that was on the corner right across from here was different, because I ate there maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, and it was something else. So that must be the building you're talking about. Yeah.
I did, did you ever, there used to be a little coffee place, which is now. a
Oh, yes,
bar.
Mandy's,
Yeah,
Mandy's.
Bell Baccio.
Oh, okay, yes.
And I loved it. When I was working, I used to go there. But I'm so sorry that went out. But I haven't been to what's there. I guess it's a wine bar now.
Yeah, I don't know, I haven't been there either since maybe 4 or 5 years plus. As we said, pre-pandemic. About a year before the pre-pandemic.
I think it was the original.
Well, I
sold
would
it,
do it like this, so
but
they
it
know.
still was really nice.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't, in fact, when we went by, we still haven't been to Harry's Highlight in years. But we,
A year or so ago, I wasn't even a year, and it was somebody's birthday.
it wouldn't stay in business if it wasn't good. It's been there, we've been here since
Oh, yeah.
75, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's been there before then.
Yeah, oh yeah. My husband grew up in San Jose. And
Yes.
I was there for a long time. And, yeah.
So where are you from originally?
So I'm from Oakland. We met at UC Davis. And,
Okay.
yeah.
So you lived in San Jose then? for a
Yeah,
long
so
time.
we lived a few other places. We moved 7 times our first 5 years of marriage.
Oh,
And
that- oh,
then
my
we've been
gosh.
in our house for, 40 some odd
Yes,
years.
yes,
so,
that's
yeah,
us.
40 years. So
We only moved twice.
Santa Clara, yeah.
That was
So,
enough.
Yeah.
He worked for IBM, he used to mean I could move. But once we came here,
Right.
I said, then another couple offers came in and we both looked at each other and said, this weather can't, we're from Pittsburgh, then we lived in Chicago,
right,
moved
right.
out here and we said, this weather's too nice, we're not going to Detroit or Arizona.
The ones down like the Coyote Valley, that IBM?
Yes,
Yeah.
originally he worked, when we first came out of Palo Alto.
Palo Alto, yeah.
Because they didn't have what he was doing.
Right.
So Palo Alto. And then he went ahead and worked at the prune yard for a while because they worked there. And that was nice because we would always go on Friday. What was the name of the restaurant? It was on top of the prune yard. We used to go there for Friday happy hour. I can't think of the name, but anyway. And then we went, and then he went from there and he moved on to, not the Cottle one, he moved, that's where he actually retired from, was the Cottle one, the Cottle. But he did various things.
Yeah.
But we stayed here, I'm so glad.
Nice, yeah.
I know you are too, and I'm glad she is the first person I met when we moved here from Chicago.
Oh my goodness.
She was,
Are you guys still neighbors?
no. She moved to Willow Glen. I stayed in the same, it's over there by Oak Ridge Mall, by Gunderson High School.
My daughter lives up in Branham and Pearl.
Okay.
Does anybody want to help the IHF put labels on postcards?
Sure. I'll be happy to do that. So we've been there 48 years. Once we moved here. But she was standing outside and I
I
was
want to let
pregnant
you
with
know
my second
too that
child. And we moved here
Stanley
since I was
bought
pregnant. So I
some
said,
coffee
is there a
from the
babysitting co-op here?
It's
She
a
said, yeah, and I
very rich
belong in
blend, and we have coffee here with dessert.
Sure.
In
happy to do
addition,
that.
the coffee is half decaf and half fresh, and it's very good, very good coffee.
Yeah, just put it, just put my label.
I hope this is not, I hope this won't burn. I said, I hope this won't burn. No, I mean in terms of the, I'm gonna
So were you
put
in
this.
Las Madres or a different?
No, I wasn't. I was just, it was the neighborhood, it was a neighborhood babysitting co-op. And it turned out to be great because I got a chance to meet. But I don't even know if they have that. Did they have that years ago? 48 years ago? Did they have that? I think they did. I think they did.
Yeah, I moved down here and the neighbor across the street got me in, thankfully, because I had no one down here other than,
Yes.
yeah, so.
That was the same thing I was in. I didn't have anybody around
And
to.
some of the moms were, I was a first-time mom, and so they, at one point, they said, Nora, she can sleep through the night. We have to stop, you know.
Yes.
Yep.
Put them like that, and then we'll give people sleep.
Yeah.
with them.
I'm still friends.
It's probably got a cool.
Yeah, I'm friends with a lot of people that we started out with.
Yeah.
We have friends that we've known for over 40 years, which is quite nice. Some longer, like Maria and Rivers and other people that we've been very lucky
Yep.
that a lot of them have stayed here because a number of people have friends that have all moved away.
Yeah, a lot of people move out of the area when they retire, but
Yep.
still, there's still a lot of nice things.
No, I love San
The
Jose.
weather is good.
Well, there'll be stuff to take home too.
And both of our children live here, which is, one moved away for a while.
Yeah.
But she came back.
Okay, folks.
My daughter's here, my son,
Where's
his wife,
the
but that's still
No, that's not that bad.
That's expensive.
you tell me how much you want, because we'll be taking some home too. But I want it to cool before we put them in those styrofoams. I think this is very hot. Why don't you bring it at the table? Probably easier to do. You can't. I would take it over to the table.
What?
It's a little bit too dangerous.
In the actual enemies,
Here you go.
Where are the spoons at?
Yes, I couldn't find it. Yes. They don't have it. I couldn't find it either. Okay. Put your cheese on it and get your French bread. Okay. There's spoons over there.
I'm in Montana.
Well, this is a taste of home for many people.
Hey, she's
Take this. This has all three. I think it's best to sit at the table to do it. Lucia, get some pasta. My pleasure. So, did you get? I want to get you to try one of these. These are that's the baked ones. I could tell because they're brown. Get that. Let me give you some juice. And the spinach cooked for approximately 5 minutes. 5 or 6 minutes. Yes, because it's too hot. Yeah, you can't.
It takes like 3 minutes.
Now, I guess this is
Bob
one
doesn't
of
eat it. I just make
the
it
kind
myself
of
a
this
little bit.
oil, because it looked a little bigger than the smallest.
Well, you do.
Okay.
I think I've tried Swiss chocolate.
Yeah, you can use it. Let me get you
Well,
one.
you can try it.
So you try it.
Okay, I can tell that this is
You
the
got all
same.
three.
You said you okay, the one. I can tell the
Now here's one of the store-bought
The
ones.
one.
Try it.
So these are the bottomers, but I didn't know there was a third.
Oh, I used to, could get more back there. I think we're all out. I bought, I put a bunch, but I think we're all.
I never made them out.
That's funny.
Okay, I'm glad you came, because this is a special one. Well, that's because of the sofrito. Remember, I made the sofrito before you got here, but you have to. And it has to cook for a little bit.
Thinner. That's, yeah. Yes.
We'll get more.
Yes. Oh, good, great. That took that piece. Thank you very much. Yeah, but it is.
Lucia, we only need about 4
They're not
more
as thick as
spoons.
they used to be, so they make them very hard to open.
Oh, the broth is really good. Wow.
Huh?
To try it and then try it together.
And the kind of green cheese would taste really different.
This tastes different than here, don't you think? The broth is strong. I like it. I like it actually.
I use these because you can't.
No, one of my friends, she's Italian, and she,
Yeah.
I
Does
was
everybody
recovering
get
from
some?
surgery, and she bought a soup of it. And
Okay.
Maria was there, and so
I'm just gonna
it
sit
was
down
wedding
here.
soup, because she heard that I love
Get
wedding soup.
wherever.
And she made it, and Maria and I both said.
Now I'm gonna
"This is
take
like
this off.
the
I
wedding
don't have to
soup
wear
we
this
grew up with."
anymore.
This broth is actually yummier. Hers was the traditional, but I grew up with chicken broth. My aunt used to actually make the broth from scratch.
This is excellent.
That's good. I look into that.
And I like that you mix it.
We wouldn't let you do that.
I think that's why it makes it
Second
so
son salad,
good.
cheese and crackers.
You know, the
Yeah,
bone.
and second son is the,
There's salt and
okay,
pepper
but I'm
if
gonna wait
you
till the
want
end for
it.
that.
I'll bring some out.
It's good without salt and pepper.
Well, there's salt and pepper in it, but I didn't put a lot.
Yeah.
But it's up to you. If
Yeah.
you want more salt, if anyone wants
Are you
more
working
salt.
tomorrow?
Stanley, did you get some?
Yeah, because it's Friday.
I don't always
Stanley,
look my back
did you
over
get some soup?
pantry, 'cause
There's
I don't know, I understand it really bad.
This is very good. Thank you very
tonight,
much.
like a special, like I'm going out, so. Did my hair and my makeup.
Okay, so I'm going to leave those that you made to Maria. And they were very good, and I'm going to try the bottom and see if I can.
I'm not a huge meatball fan, but meatballs are amazing. I just wanted to eat chocolate fry them.
Sweat orange doesn't have the best hair. That's why I don't like them, because the sweat orange are weird. But the ones that come,
And I still can't decide.
One thing about this meal is with a little bit of salad, a little bit of fruit, this is your winter meal. And it saves on PG&E bills.
Yes, it saved on money too when I was growing up.
Right. Even the recipe, exactly. Yep, each all, same thing.
You might take a picture of Maria and I with our students.
Everybody's.
Yes, I'm just going to do that one. Today we check it out. Check it out. So much.
You never come out of it.
And Maria just ordered a little soup set. Thank you so much.
I tried to make one first, and my dad, just flat told me, no, they're not one.
It's nice for you. It's very nice. Thank you very much. All of a sudden I remember that. I love this way before there was Facebook. I've loved pictures all my life.
I have all these albums.
Yeah, I know that my kids are not going to do damn well with it all the way.
Go through them so that they're, my daughter looks pictures, so I know she won't throw them away, but then it's a curse because, I have.
Yes, no, I had to too, but they can keep them. And what my husband's been doing is he's been going through and,
Yeah, just don't go with us.
my husband has gone through it and he's right now digitizing the initiatives that we're just thinking about. We have the biggest safety deposit box in the bank. They're going to be happy when we go. because
more DB, but she
years
couldn't.
ago, the early
But what
80s,
happened with
the house next door burned down.
her?
And so that was before digital pictures, so we put all our negatives in the safety file. And that took a lot of pictures. So we had the biggest box of the bank. And that we still do. And it's all full of mostly negatives.
So when she said, okay,
He's
sure.
digitizing them.
Yeah.
And then darker
I'll tell her
ones,
she
a lot
needs
of
out, maybe she'll come
He has
next.
a bunch
But I
of
think
little
my
things.
Kathy's gonna be.
Darker ones are the fake
Her mom
ones.
was one of
Come
them.
on. Come on.
Yeah, I think Kathy's
Done.
They want them.
So she'll probably come in. It's
With
always
all
on
the
Thursday, right?
that you'll keep.
Hi. Everybody enjoying the soup? All right.
I don't know.
But,
Take, try a little.